Hey, hi, hello, and welcome into tonight's live. My name is Tanya. If you are new here, hi, hello, and welcome. And if you're returning Titan, welcome back. If you appreciate the coverage tonight, I hope you will subscribe to the channel. And if you guys don't mind just taking a second, hitting the like button, it really helps the channel. And I love it. I love getting into the algorithm. It's the best. It's the best. More people will come in and they'll chit chat with us that way. But if you'd like to become a member of our channel, if you do, say you like it, say you like it around here. I'll throw the membership link in the chat throughout the live tonight. So just wanted to get all that out of the way in the beginning. That way we can get to the live. And I can see who's in the chat. How's everybody doing? How's everybody's week going? We're done. We're done with the week. Did I change my? Yep, I did. I didn't know if I changed the date on my desk calendar. Hey Cheryl. Hey Crystal. Hey Jan. Hey Tina. Welcome in everybody. Crafty One. There's Mary Beth. Mr. Rosebud. DM. Citizen Sleuth. Welcome in everybody. Teresa. You guys having a good day? Hey Spilled Beans. Hey Alicia. Hey Solo. Hey Peaky. Welcome in, everybody. Crystal, I don't know if I said Crystal or not. Happy Cappy's in here. We got everybody. Hey, baby girl. Hey, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome on in. We're going to talk about Suzanne Morphew tonight. And then I have an update, like a minor update that Nancy's going to address on about the Sebastian Rogers case. So I thought that would be pretty interesting. Hey, Danielle. Happy Friday. It is Friday. That's for sure. I'm ready for the weekend, though. I'm ready for it to be nice. I don't know what the weather's going to be like around here, but hopefully it's nice this weekend. I would love that. Just got done serving at my church's pasta dinner. Oh, that sounds good. Hopefully you got some of the dinner too. You didn't just serve it. But let me pull up the first thing I was going to share with you guys here. So we've been talking about, actually, before I do that, let me go over here to my notes. So actually I lied to you again. I lied. I'm just kidding. I want to bring up a picture of Suzanne. I have some, but they're overlays, so. I usually have this ready to go, but I didn't tonight. So, okay, I'm going to put her picture up because that's who we're going to be talking about tonight. But this is Suzanne Morphew. And in 2020, she went missing on Mother's Day. She went missing from her home is what I'm going to tell you guys. They are saying that she may have went on a bike ride. We don't know if she ever took that bike ride. But her remains were found in September 2023 in a really remote area of Colorado. I've put it up on the map for you guys. It's literally just like a field. Suzanne's death has been ruled a homicide by undetermined means. And the toxicology reports show several rugs found in her system at the time of her death. And you know that I cannot pronounce them, but they are beautiful. Let me see, actually. I'm going to pronounce them right for you. I can do the speech thing. Butorphanol, Azaperone, and a sedative, a sedative commonly used in tranquilizers for pigs and elephants. And Medetomidine, that's a sedative that decreases an animal's heart rate, and it's commonly used by veterinarians. So, not very good. I don't know anybody that has elephants in Colorado, but they might. I don't know. Let me know if you know. And there was another, not pigs. There was another animal when I was looking this up that they use it. Giraffes. I was like, what? Giraffes? It just surprised me. But according to the 2020 affidavit, Barry Morphew admitted to police that he commonly used this tranquilizer called BAM, which if you put those three combinations, those three medications together, it's an acronym for BAM. And he used those for hunting to get deer antlers off of the deer. That's what he said he used it for. So, but when police went to his house, they did find the tranquilizer cap inside of the dryer, and it was folded up and rolled up into one of his daughter's bed sheets. And so that's kind of where we're at now. There's a lot more. And if you know the case, you know, but if not, we're going to go over all of it. So we'll go over a little bit of everything anyway, because there's a lot to this case. There's a whole lot. It's been going on for 4 years. So That's 4 years of speculation, 4 years of Barry being a free man if he is guilty, 4 years of people they've been investigating this case for 4 years. I can only imagine, what kind of evidence they have, if they have a lot of evidence, if they don't have a lot of evidence. I'm kind of curious because they have her remains, but there wasn't much left of her. So I'm kind of wondering, I don't know, I have thoughts because when I'm looking over the autopsy again, it said that she, where was that? No perimortem trauma. So that would be like before death. And it didn't, so I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means she wasn't shot. Because that's what I thought maybe. So that's where my head was going. But this here says the ruling that Suzanne Morphew's death was a homicide. Oh, actually, let me go back up. Oh, never mind. I don't need to. It could mean prosecutors could once again seek to file charges in connection with their case that has been open since the Colorado woman's 2020 disappearance. So if you guys know the case, Barry was charged and then later released. And the charges were dropped, but they can be refiled on him. Okay. Suzanne, a mother of 2, went missing after going on a bike ride on Mother's Day nearly 4 years ago. Her remains were found in Sagua, am I saying that right? County, September 2023. A coroner's report reported by multiple outlets, including KKTV, the Associated Press, detailing the circumstances of Suzanne's death, revealed that she was unalived by undetermined means in the setting of BAM, as we're going to call it, the 3 medications. The substance found in her system is a combination that's marketed as an animal tranquilizer. And when police recovered Suzanne's remains, they found her in her favorite T-shirt. It was pulled from the location, and also recently, Barry has been trying to sneak into memorials for her. So we'll go over that too. In May 2021, before her remains were found, Suzanne's husband, Barry Morphew, an avid hunter, was arrested and charged with M in her case. But he was voraciously, I can't even say that word, denied the allegation. And in 2022, the charges were dropped about by prejudice, meaning prosecutors could decide to refile. Now, I'm wondering, I feel like when they were going to court the first time, I mean, they had a lot of circumstantial evidence, but I'm wondering with them having the BAM, if that is going to seal old Barry's fate, because he got out of it before. The officers were actually telling the DA to not press or not to file the charges yet. They wanted to get more evidence against him. So hopefully they had time to do that. Years before the discovery of Suzanne's remains, authorities found a dart gun and materials used to inject tranquilizer into darts in Barry's gun safe. No tranquilizer chemicals were found in the home. CPR reported that Barry claimed he used the darts to remove deer antlers without killing the animals. I don't think that's legal, Barry. The AP reported that Colorado Bureau of Investigation Director Chris Schaefer did not say whether new charges would be filed against Barry in the wake of the cause of death revealed. Assisting in the ongoing investigation is the District Attorney's Office for the 12th Judicial District of Colorado. We will continue to follow the evidence and seek justice for Suzanne, District Attorney Ann Kelly, in a statement reported by the AP. Barry has previously accused prosecutors of having tunnel vision. CPR reported that his legal team released a statement following the recent update in the case. The Morphews have prayed the authorities would remove their blinders and not only find Suzanne, but find the suspect responsible for her disappearance and murder, the statement reads. However, the Morphews are left with more questions than answers and a lack of justice for Suzanne and the family and the community. And I just realized I'm not even on the screen. I just realized I'm not even on the screen, am I? Not that it matters, but maybe you want to see me. The AP reported that an attorney for Barry claims the evidence suggests that somebody else abducted and unalived Suzanne. The attorney says Barry's tranquilizer gun was not working at the time of her disappearance. Well, where is it? Where is the tranquilizer gun, Barry? What do you mean it wasn't working? Like, it works all the time for these deer antlers, but the one time that, your wife's found, her bones are found with these tranquilizer, chemicals in her, your gun wasn't working. Barry's legal team has also claimed the tranquilizer found during Suzanne's autopsy is a very common animal tranquilizer. And welcome in, everybody. When I'm reading, I can't see the chat very well. So let's see. And I mean, there is unknown DNA found. I'm just playing because I'm just playing devil's advocate. There was DNA found on the inside of Suzanne's bicycle helmet, in the back seat, I believe, of her car, maybe the trunk, and somewhere else on like her clothing or something at the scene. So there was some unknown DNA. Now, I don't remember it saying male. It just said unknown DNA, I think. So I'm wondering. In 2023, Barry filed a $15 million suit in federal court against multiple entities and officials, including Coffee County, 11th District Judicial District Attorney Linda Stanley, and Coffee County Sheriff John Spez, among others, accusing them of violating his constitutional rights according to a complaint reviewed by People. Good luck, Barry. Good luck. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Texas Dog Mom. I'm assuming that's what the TX is. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. So that's a little background of the case, kind of leading us into what we're going through now. So we started covering this case last year. It was, I think, right before they found her remains, or maybe right after. For some reason I can't remember, but we started following the case. So we've been waiting for the autopsy report to come out, and so it finally did come out last week, I think it was. And we got to go over that and look and see what exactly happened to her from what they have left. So they had a celebration of life for Suzanne. And I just saw this on Twitter the other day on multiple people's Twitter. So I figured I would show this to you guys. But it's this guy, and he just drives by this, looks like a church. And now I don't know if this is truly Barry or not. But this person is saying it's him. It does look like him. But the way this person's dressed, they look like they're dressed in their work clothes almost, like boots, jeans, t-shirt. But it looks like it could be Barry. Like he dresses and everything. So, take it with a grain of salt, but that's what's been floating. This is what's been floating around the X. I gotta start calling it X. I'm gonna call it Twitter forever. If I do, I'm gonna be that person, aren't I? They're gonna be like, she's old. She calls it Twitter. What's Twitter? So I'll play this here, and he does yell for Barry at the end, and you'll see Barry like walking through the door. He doesn't even turn around. He doesn't even flinch. So that's just what gives me pause, because I mean, if someone were to yell my name, I would just automatically turn around or do something. I don't know. So you tell me what you see in the video. Let me know if you think it's him. And I think I think so. Is this him? I don't know. Kind of looks like him. You think so? So looks like that's so funny. And it's not JLR that yells either. I listened to it a few times just to make sure. Look at this guy. I hear you, brother. And I think...
Hey, Barry.
See, he doesn't even turn. Did I pause it? No, I didn't. He just put it slow-mo.
Barry.
The dude doesn't even like flinch. I'll play it again. Play it through again. It does resemble him though. It looks like him in like his work clothes. You know what I mean? Like it's just t-shirt, jeans, his normal wear. That looks like him. Those look like a pair of buckled jeans or something that he, you know, the faded in the front. Didn't dress up for the occasion, I see. This would be a lot better, though, if it was JLR screaming his name.
Hey, Barry.
Did he turn? Hold on. Now I feel like maybe he did. Nope, he didn't.
Barry.
Man, I don't know. It definitely could be. Definitely could be. So supposedly he's going into this, they're having a celebration of life, like a memorial service for Suzanne. And I believe that this is the one that her sister put together for her. And she's going to be on Nancy Grace. We're going to listen to that here in a second. So we'll hear more about it. But she was putting together a celebration of life. I think a few different people have put together like memorials and stuff for her. She had different communities that she was involved with. I'm sure people that she, had met through having cancer, they probably did something for her as well, then her family, and then people that just wanted to do, think really nice things for her. But that's Barry. I think he's trying to sneak in. We don't know. But let me see. It does say on here that it's reported that husband Barry Morphew quietly slipped into an invite-only memorial. So it was an invite only, and he just walked on in. He didn't care. She is going to have a friend. That's what it is. A friend of Suzanne Morphew's on. I thought it was her sister's, so it's a friend. Sorry about that. Hey, B-Math. Oh, what you cooking? Bet it's something good. Okay, so this is we're gonna listen tonight because it's a podcast. This will come out on video on YouTube in a couple days from now. But if you get on the podcast, you can listen to it a little sooner. So I do have some photos I'm going to put up that way, like of Suzanne. That way it's like a little bit better than just staring at the screen, because who wants to do that, But I'll go ahead and play this here, and I'm going to go ahead and put an overlay up. That way you have something better to look at. I'll put one up of like Suzanne or something. But thank you guys all for being here tonight. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. This case it's a lot. We do have a playlist. I also, in the playlist, we've read over all of the court documents. I don't think, and we may have, I don't remember us reading over Barry's arrest affidavit. And I kind of want to read over it just to see what it reads like compared to what we know, what like the evidence is now. I would just be curious to know. And this is going to be a little loud, I think, because I can't control her volume.
Crime Stories with Nancy Grace. Breaking news tonight. Missing mom Suzanne's remains found miles away from home. Bet the killer thought that would never happen. Suzanne found shot full of animal trank to bring down rhinos. You heard me right. Strong enough to bring down rhinos. An elephant, a giraffe, a bear shot into the body of a 120-pound woman. This as Suzanne's hubby reportedly sneaks into her invite-only memorial. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with us.
Oh, Suzanne, if anyone is out there that can hear this, that has you, please, we'll do whatever it takes to bring you back. We love you. We miss you. Your girls need you. No questions asked. However much they want, I will do whatever it takes to get you back. Honey, I love you. And I want you back so bad.
Really? Will you really do everything it takes to bring her home? Well, how come you didn't tell police that her number one favorite sweatshirt was missing, and that's what your wife was probably wearing when she disappeared?
Hold on a second. Wasn't the reward like, I'm going to look it up. It was something ridiculously small, I feel like.
AKA was the murder. Guys, with me, an all-star panel to make sense of what we know right now. We know that Suzanne shot full, and I mean full, animal trank. Trank, I have now learned, thanks to my friend, the zoologist, Gray Stafford, is strong enough to bring down a rhinoceros. Okay, but let me just set the table before I go to Dr. Gray Stafford. Joining me also is renowned forensic professor Joseph Scott Morgan, author of Blood Beneath My Feet and host of a wildly popular podcast, Body Bags with Joe Scott Morgan. Joe Scott, for Gray's understanding, he deals with animals that don't typically murder each other. Could you explain how we know Suzanne is shot with so much animal trank that was still in her system years later?
This is the fascinating part about this case, and that very abbreviated autopsy report that we had, Nancy, and that is this concentration of BAM, this animal trank, was actually located in the head of her femur, which is a long bone in our leg up at the top where it joins in to the hip socket. They actually cut the top of that off of these skeletal remains, and they were able to render it down to the point where they could extract this chemical compound contained therein. That was probably, for me, one of the biggest reveals. But the problem is that right now we only have a qualitative suggestion that it is there. We know nothing about the quantitative levels.
Well, I know.
This is kind of morbid, and I'll look it up, but does anybody know how long it takes for like bones to like fully just be like, decay, be gone? Or is that like something that just doesn't happen? Like they'd always find the femur? Because that's a huge bone.
This, Joe Scott Morgan, I know that as when you shoot a rhino, a rhinoceros, I'm going to go to Gray on this. Gray Stafford, I'm just a trial lawyer. All right. Joe Scott Morgan, he's a death investigator. Joining me right now is a renowned expert in his field, Gray Stafford, host of podcast Zoologic, wildlife expert, animal trainer. He's a zoologist. He's written a book, Zoomility, Keeper Tales of Training with Positive Reinforcement. Gray Stafford, I'm very confused about why a sedative, a tranquilizer, powerful enough to literally bring down an elephant or a charging rhinoceros or a bear would be used on a 120-pound woman who was just recovering from cancer. The reason I believe she was shot with a tank full of this stuff is because, just like with animals, it wears off in a pretty short period of time. So it wears off and dissipates out of the system. She had so much in her system, they had to cut off, saw in half the top of her leg bone to get out DNA, and that is where they found the trank. What is B, brother, M, mother, A, alpha? What is it?
Well, Nancy, it's a 3-drug cocktail. There are a lot of different sedatives and tranquilizers that veterinarians and wildlife managers use, but some of them are more safe than others. Some are more effective than others. Some are quicker acting than others. And some work in certain species and don't work in other species all that well. So BAM is a safer opioid, but it is an opioid, and it can cause all sorts of side effects that can be dangerous in the hands of someone who doesn't know what they're doing.
Okay, well, let me just ask you a couple of street vernacular questions, Dr. Gray Stafford. Gray, isn't it true civilians aren't supposed to have BAM? And here is my attempt at pronouncing Butorphanol, Medetomidine, and Azaperone. Regular people are not supposed to be walking with this in their dart gun.
You're absolutely right. These are controlled substances, and they are opioid derivatives or analogs or synthetics. And we know what happens with opioids, right? We've got a crisis with fentanyl and so forth. So yes, these don't belong in the hands of lay people like you and me.
I mean, think about it. I'm not going to take the twins for a walk down Fifth Avenue or Peachtree Street if somebody can walk by with a trank gun over their shoulder full of BAM, B brother, A alpha, M mother. No, I'm not, because it's strong enough to take down literally a wild animal. Imagine a rhino charging straight at you. And that's what Suzanne is shot full of.
That's right. And some of these drugs are very potent, so you don't need a lot of volume. I mean, imagine a rhinoceros is 2,000 pounds or more. Certain drugs, you would need large volumes of sedative to subdue them. But some of these, like BAM, are more concentrated, more potent, so you need less volume, which is important if you're darting an animal, because you can't sit there with a large plunger and a large volume and hope that you're going to get it all on board.
How quickly does it leave an animal, say a rhino system?
Well, some of these drugs can be reversed, so they can be reversed rather quickly. But if they wear off, it could take minutes to hours or longer.
You mean like with Narcan?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. There are different drugs that can reverse the effects of the individual drugs within this cocktail. And that's often the case when it's applied by a veterinarian. Once we're done treating an animal, we reverse it, but still the animal has some lingering effects for several minutes.
I remember something about you, Dr. Stafford. When I first met you, we were showing the twins a baby white tiger, just as small as an actual human baby. And at first I wouldn't let the twins get near it because I didn't know what was going to happen. And he said, it's fine, they can get near it. And so we got close to it. And I remember that in that facility, there was a trank gun. I looked at it and I recognized it wasn't a regular gun, and I figured out what it was. How do you get your hands on this powerful tranquilizer? How would a civilian get their hands on this kind of trank?
You need a prescription by a licensed veterinarian or medical doctor in the case of human use. So I'm not exactly sure how an average person would get this through legal means. The trank guns themselves are harmless, and we keep those in position, but the drugs themselves are under lock and key until needed.
Guys, take a listen to this.
According to a 2021 affidavit, Barry Morphew admitted to police that he frequently used BAM and other tranquilizers to sedate deer to remove antlers for his hunting business. BAM is the commonly used abbreviation for Butorphanol, Azaperone, and Medetomidine. Azaperone is used as a sedative for elephants, rhinos, and giraffes, while Medetomidine facilitates immobilization of large carnivores and great apes, these same three drugs found in the bones of Suzanne Morphew. The autopsy report says Suzanne died by homicide by undetermined means in the setting of Butorphanol, Azaperone, and Medetomidine BAM intoxication.
So we know that Barry Morphew admits that he uses BAM, Butorphanol, Azaperone, and Medetomidine. He has them. Wow. What a coinkydink. He has the very same thing that turns up in Suzanne Morphew's system. We are analyzing the autopsy report and bringing in experts to make sense of what we're learning. Wow. That's a coincidence, isn't it? But I'm not asking you to pass judgment or make a legal or evidentiary conclusion, Dr. Grace Stafford, but it would be like me walking up to my grandma and saying, hey, can you score some meth for me? She would have no idea how to get her hands on a hit of meth than the man in the moon. So how, just like you, Gray, you're saying, I don't know how a person would get their hands on rhino tranquilizers, but somebody did.
A single moment. All the losses.
The smokeless nicotine alternative that puts
Happiness and the impersonal and professional. Guys, joining me, a renowned expert and author,
Higgins.
Dr. Gray Stafford.
I mean, I'm not saying he did it, but he did
to the
it.
rest of our panel, our all-star panel, as we try to decipher what we are learning. It's not just that the husband, Barry Morphew, admitted that he had this very powerful rhino tranquilizer civilians are not supposed to have their hands on. He also admits, and I'm going to let Lauren Conlon correct me if I'm wrong. I want you to take a listen to this, Lauren, that, he may have accidentally on purpose thrown away the rhino tranquilizer immediately after his wife goes missing. Listen.
A search of Morphew's property turns up empty darts, a dart package, and a dart needle. Morphew's questioned about a dart needle cap found in the laundry room dryer with wash sheets. Morphew says he has no idea how it got there, claiming the last time he used BAM tranquilizers in April, he shot from a window near the breezeway, the same breezeway near the spot Suzanne was sunbathing the day she died. A 130-page arrest affidavit details Morphew's involvement with the same tranquilizers found in Suzanne's body. He admits to frequently handling these drugs and says it makes him look bad. When asked about the tranquilizer cap in the dryer, Morphew admits it looks suspicious.
Lauren Conlon is joining me investigating.
Not only is it in the dryer, Barry, but it's in his daughter's bed sheets that doesn't even live there. She's away at college. So why would you need to be washing her sheets, Barry? And why? Yeah, I mean, like right there. Why is he washing sheets with, tranquilizer darts caps in them? I don't think that his daughter messes with tranquilizer darts. That's just me, though. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
Journalist, host of the Outlier podcast. Lauren, thank you for being with us. Let me understand this. So Suzanne Morphew's remains, their skeletonized remains. I want to talk to you about that sweatshirt you and Joe Scott Morgan. Skeletal remains are found miles and miles away from the home. Bet the killer thought that would never happen. And when someone put Barry's alleged location, we're referring to the husband, Barry Morphew. We see where her remains were found. We see their residence miles and miles away. We see where her bike and helmet were found in two separate locations. And we see Morphew's alleged location. Okay, hold it. Hold everything. Is this right? That Barry Morphew admits, number one, that he uses Rhinoceros tranquilizers and that he happened to be using the same tranquilizer that was found in Suzanne Morphew's kneecap, in her body, in her DNA. And he admits in a 130-plus page affidavit that, yeah, I threw all away that animal trank right after Suzanne went missing. Why? Why did you do that? If you need it for your business, why did you throw it away? I mean, I would throw away this microphone right here or this cell phone right here because I need them. I need them to work. So why did he suddenly, the day his wife goes missing or on or about, throw away all his animal trank, which he's not supposed to have anyway? Explain that to me, Lauren Conlon.
You're exactly right, Nancy. And you nailed it. I know he is not considered a suspect right now, but the empty trank, right, found in the dryer. And then you have the trank gun he threw away, which he needs for work. Very suspicious. And then the fact that the trank was actually found tangled up in his sheets, in his daughter's sheets, who's away at college, in the dryer. I mean, I don't know about you, but washing sheets are a big pain in the butt. I don't really wash sheets that I don't have to. So that was a flag for me. And then something else about Sawatch, where she was found, the bones that were found that were obviously Suzanne's. I mean, this is a very secluded area. This is called the boneyard. So whoever did this, they most likely thought that these remains would never be found.
Lauren Conlon, you're absolutely correct. Listen.
Morphew says he has no idea how the needle cap got in the dryer. He said the last time he used BAM tranquilizers and shot from the window near the breezeway was in late April. Investigators asked Morphew whether he might have thrown those tranquilizers away in one of his 5 trash runs he made immediately after his wife disappeared. After hearing investigators tracked down surveillance video from McDonald's, a bus stop, and a men's warehouse, and actually saw Morphew throwing items into multiple trash receptacles, Morphew then says he may have thrown some tranquilizer materials away.
Why did Barry Morphew, the husband, who is not a suspect, has not been named a person of interest again? He was charged earlier in Suzanne's death, and then those charges were dropped. Why is it when your wife goes missing, you turn into a neatnik? He was so hell-bent on throwing away the trash. He went to 5 trash cans at McDonald's, a bus stop, at a men's warehouse. Chris McDonough joining me, Director Cold Case Foundation, former homicide detective, and host of a YouTube channel, The Interview Room. That's where I found him during the Moscow, Idaho quadruple slay case. Chris McDonough, you think you've seen it all, right? Well, you haven't. I bet you never had a case with Rhinoceros tranquilizer, did you? I didn't till now.
Yeah, no, Nancy, I've never had a case where tranquilizer was utilized. And that is a very creative way of obviously incapacitating somebody. And the fact that he had experience with it is, just at the top of suspicion.
Can I just ask you a question on a personal note, Chris McDonough? I know you live with your wife, AKA Honey, as you call her, but you may have to take the trash out sometimes. When I or my husband take the trash out, we just walk to the end of the driveway where we have the trash cans hidden. And we don't go to McDonald's or the bus stop. Oh, please let me see those photos again. There's the bus stop. Then there's a McDonald's. Then there's a Men's Warehouse. Oh my goodness. He was certainly a neatnik. Check it out. All the way through this parking lot, he's throwing trash away. And then he admits, does he not, that he may have thrown away the animal tranquilizer paraphernalia the very day his wife goes missing. Darn.
Yeah, go figure, right? I mean, here, he's got to make 5 trash runs. I mean, how many of us just in normal everyday life do we utilize, 5 separate trash cans outside of the trash cans that we have in our own garage, potentially at our house? And the fact that he's thrown away boots, he's thrown away his mail, because they found some items in the hotel room, and he mentions it during their FBI interviews. This is all very, very highly suspicious activity. And to the point where the FBI went back and they pulled the video and they confronted her with him.
Joining me right now is high-profile lawyer from the Tate Law Group. Joining us out of Savannah, Mark Tate is joining us now. I became familiar with Tate not only because of his trial record, but during the Alex Murdaugh double murder trial near Savannah. Mark Tate, thank you for being with us. Could you give us, in a nutshell, this is not an appellate argument to the Georgia Supreme Court, nutshell, okay, ping pong, not chess. What exactly is circumstantial evidence?
Well, circumstantial evidence is anything other than direct evidence. And so if you are trying to prove that someone was hiding something from being discovered by the police, then you can argue that there's proof of that attempt to hide by taking trash cans to multiple locations to get rid of their contents. That would be circumstantial evidence. Direct evidence would be someone's, for example, eyewitness testimony that I saw this guy load his trash bags with tranquilizers and put them directly in the McDonald's trash can. So, there's a whole lot of language that's engrafted on the notion of circumstantial evidence, but really everything except direct evidence is circumstantial evidence. It doesn't necessarily mean it's weaker. It doesn't necessarily mean it's stronger. It's just something that is evidence from which a jury can draw conclusions, so long as they're reasonable. And it allows a prosecutor to argue in closing argument why there should be a conviction. And it also, because of the weakness that is generally perceived in circumstantial evidence, it allows for defense lawyers to argue.
Mark Tate, this is a yes/no lightning round for you. Isn't it true that the black and white letter of the law, judges instruct the juries before they go to deliberate, and one of those instructions is circumstantial evidence can be as strong or probative as direct evidence? Circumstantial evidence,
yes,
that's nothing to sneeze at. Everything that's direct is either an eyewitness. And by the way, your example was circumstantial. Just because you see the husband throwing away an animal tranquilizer and there's animal tranquilizer in her body, that doesn't mean he killed her. It's circumstantial evidence. Direct evidence would be an eyewitness to the crime, the murder, or DNA, or maybe a fingerprint. All of that would be direct evidence. But can I just throw a hypothetical at you, Mark Tate? You deal with this every single day in court where you earn all that money. Mark Tate, Barry Morphew, who is not a suspect in this case, he has not been named a suspect or person of interest this time. He admits to police, I've read a 130-page affidavit. He admits he has BAM. BAM, Butorphanol, Azaperone, and Medetomidine, which is a rhinoceros tranquilizer. Civilians aren't supposed to have it. He admits he has it. He admits he shot the animal dart tranquilizer gun in the breezeway. We know that Suzanne was sunbathing in that breezeway the day she went missing. And we know that he admitted that he threw it all away. And that was on the day she went missing. Would you call that circumstantial evidence? Because I would.
Well, yeah, it's circumstantial evidence. It's very powerful evidence, though. It links, this man with all of the things that were used, apparently, that were found on the remains that had the hoodie that this young lady was wearing when she was cooking dinner with her mother, a few months before she was dead or was killed or went missing at that time. So this is really difficult evidence, I think, for a lawyer to overcome for the defendant. However, this guy does have apparently resources and he has a lot of money. And so that means he has the ability to retain lawyers, retain experts, and really put the state through everything they possibly can to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. And so it's not going to be.
I didn't catch that. How long ago was it? I didn't catch that. I was trying to put the pictures up for you guys. Ashley said, time out. He said he shot the trank gun, but yet they said the trank gun wasn't working at the time. They did say, yeah, he said it wasn't working. And he said he could have threw it away the same day. I'll try to go back a little bit, see if we hear it again.
He has it. He
BAM,
Butorphanol, Azaperone, and Medetomidine, which is a rhinoceros tranquilizer. Civilians aren't supposed to have it. He admits he has it. He admits he shot the animal dart tranquilizer gun in the breezeway. We know that.
Yeah. Wait a second here. You're right, Ashley. Now I feel like I feel like I need to listen to this whole podcast again. Huh.
Suzanne was sunbathing in that breezeway the day she went missing. And we know that he admitted that he threw it all away. And that was on the day she went missing. Would you call that circumstantial evidence? Because I would.
Well, yeah, it's circumstantial evidence. It's very powerful evidence, though. It links, this man with all of the things that were used, apparently, that were found on the remains that had the hoodie that this young lady was wearing when she was cooking dinner with her mother, a few months before she was dead or was killed or went missing at that time. So this is really difficult evidence, I think, for a lawyer to overcome for the defendant. However, this guy does have apparently resources and he has a lot of money. And so that means he has the ability to retain lawyers, retain experts, and really put the state through everything they possibly can to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. And so it's not going to be an unchallenging task for a prosecutor. There's no such thing as a slam dunk case. And if a defendant has resources, they can mount a serious defense that will make the state mount equally as serious as a prosecution. And remember, he knows enough now not to talk to the police, and police love it when suspects talk because they know how to get them to confess, even when they're not necessarily confessing.
Suzanne?
Maybe see if you can get that up to the road and then check the serial number or call the husband and see what kind of bike she has.
Somebody chicken on it.
Could it be a mountain lion, he
Can you
says?
try to call the husband and see what type of bike she has?
Am I supposed to believe that Suzanne was riding her bike along that stretch of highway? I was there and it was so cold and the snow. We were looking at that spot. Am I supposed to believe that she was riding along on her bike. Somebody shot her with Rhinoceros tranquilizer and she fell off. Then that person moved her helmet miles away, and then her body's found miles away from there. Wow, that looks staged. That looks staged. The way that bike is placed there, that's for a jury who would stage a scene. Let me remind everybody, Barry Morphew, the husband, has not been named a suspect or a person of interest. Just recently, after digging and digging and digging through social media, we find posted on Insta a shot of Suzanne Morphew, the missing mom, and she is wearing a gray Crested Butte hoodie that we believe she was wearing at the time she was murdered or she was placed in it. This photo is of Suzanne cooking breakfast with her mother-in-law, Shirley, in Suzanne's Salida, Colorado home in 2018. Tisha Leeway is with me, very dear friend of Suzanne Morphew's. And I've asked you in the past about.
I'm going to pull up the picture for you guys really quick of that sweater that she was wearing, because it won't let me add it for some reason to the banner or the overlay. So this is the sweatshirt that Nancy is describing right now. And breakfast looks good. Breakfast looks good.
How she would appear when she came into your salon. And you always said, oh, she would never wear flip-flops and a sweatshirt, that she was always dressed up.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes.
So you never saw her in this sweatshirt, did you?
No, I didn't.
Tisha Leeway, let me ask you, do you have certain things you wear around the house that you wouldn't be caught dead in at the grocery store?
Yeah, I do.
I remember one night my son, John David, was asking a girl to HOCO, homecoming, and their school, they give the girl a poster and candies.
HOCO?
We had to go to.
Is that a thing, Nancy? Is that what the kids are calling homecoming now? HOCO? Let me know if you have any kids that are in, middle school, high school, if they're going to the homecoming, HOCO. Let me know, because if that's the new slang, then I'm old.
To Kroger at like midnight.
Right.
I had on my pajamas.
I'm old.
I wore 3 pair of sunglasses the whole time. Okay. That said, Suzanne would never have gone out in public in that sweatshirt, would she?
No.
Suzanne didn't wear this out and about. What does that prove? Just like you, Tisha Leeway, may not go out in your PJs, she wouldn't go out in that, yet her body was found wearing that. Why? Because I would argue to a jury.
She was still home.
Exactly, that she was still home. And that's not all. I happen to know this is one of her favorite sweatshirts. What does this tell me? I want to go straight out to Joseph Scott Morgan, professor of forensics, Jacksonville State University, and author of Blood Beneath My Feet on Amazon, star of Body Bags with Joe Scott Morgan. Joe Scott, you have investigated well over 1,000 death investigations. This is a shirt she only wore at home that we know of. This is a shirt that her body was found in. And my husband, my boy and girl would know if my Fulton County Fire Department sweatshirt was gone. They would know. I've had to call hotels across this country looking for that sweatshirt. They would know if it was gone. But I don't recall Barry Morphew ever telling anybody these clothes were missing.
Yeah, it's a signature of home, isn't it? It's something that you have there. Kim, my wife, she's got a Jack State sweatshirt that she exclusively wears at home, and woe unto me if I ever put my hands on it, because it's like a blanket for her, that she enjoys. It's soft, it's familiar, but no, she's not going to go wear it to the grocery store or wherever. And that goes to the intimacy of the environment that you're in. If you're going out to go for a ride or this sort of thing, you're going to leave the house, you're probably not going to go in your favorite sweatshirt, particularly in the temperatures there. You're going to want something that's more layered, perhaps, that is meant for working out in. This is meant for comfort, for lounging. But
She wouldn't be wearing shorts. then surely if it was cold that morning. She was seen in, I forget the brand now. It's like a Dick's Sporting Goods brand. She was seen in those kind of like shorts, or that's what was found. I'm sorry, that was what's found at the crime scene.
Nancy, here's the interesting thing.
Now
That
I'll have to figure out the
sweatshirt
brand.
can really tell
Yeti.
a tale
Thank you, Mel
about
Mac.
what happened perhaps in the moments leading up to her death. Now, you have to factor in the sweatshirt is going to be greatly degraded because of the location it was found in, those circumstances. But there could potentially be evidence on that sweatshirt, any kind of hole, or as we refer to it, as a defect perhaps in that sweatshirt, where it's something other than the natural decomposition of that sweatshirt could be telling a tale. That's going to be interesting for the criminalist back at the crime lab to do their assessment on. We don't have that report yet.
Because with great risk,
anytime. If Zen isn't for you,
Liberty and the pursuit of unique academic.
So I'm still looking into it, but I swear in the beginning of this Nancy Grace, it was saying that Barry said that he never used the tranquilizer gun because it wasn't working. But now we're hearing otherwise. So I'm trying to look into that because it's saying in one of these like articles from 2024 that he says that he never touched it, but I swear we heard that earlier. So I'm gonna listen to this whole podcast over again tonight too. I'm gonna let you guys know.
Back to Tisha Leeway, a very dear friend of Suzanne Morphew. Tish, you have been very open about your feelings regarding this case. Were you invited to the memorial?
No, I have never even been talked to by Barry
So
or
I
the
guess
girls.
this wasn't.
Repeat, Barry Morphew is.
Okay, I'm sorry. I got it confused. I thought her best friend or friend put it together for her. This is what Barry did. So let me take it back about 15
Suzanne
seconds.
Morphew. Tish, you have been very open about your feelings regarding this case. Were you invited to the memorial?
No, I have never even been talked to by Barry or the girls.
Repeat, Barry Morphew is not a suspect in the case. Tisha, who was there? Barry Morphew's family? Were Suzanne's family invited? Did they come?
I don't believe they were even invited to join them.
Why?
Which is, to me, is sad because it's not about anybody else but Suzanne. So, I mean, we're having ours this Saturday and, everybody's invited. Last year, I did reach out to Barry's attorney and invite them to our last year's, but this year I just didn't because every time I do invite them, they decline. So
wait. This is news to me. Tisha Leeway, a very dear friend of Suzanne Morphew, are you telling me you invited the husband, Barry Morphew, to multiple memorials or rallies and he never came?
Yeah, I did invite through his attorney last year and I got back that they are declining.
Did they say why?
No.
Well, why do you have to go through a lawyer to invite a man to his wife's memorial service?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. But I did it that way just to protect myself, I guess.
Why?
Just to protect myself because I don't want to be on that lawsuit,
I hear you. I hear you on that. Which
That's
reminds me, Barry Morphew.
That's why she is saying allegedly every 5 seconds because he's suing everybody for $15 million. Nancy's worth $25 million. She probably wants to keep her millions.
Has not been named a suspect of person of interest in this case. So you were not invited. Suzanne Morphew's family was not invited. Can I ask you something, Tisha?
Well, then whose family
when
was
you
invited?
Think about,
was it Barry's side of the family? Because I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that she wouldn't have wanted that.
Suzanne's body decomposing out in that boneyard, as they call it, and her in her little loungy shirt. What goes through your mind?
Horrible. I mean, this whole thing it's horrible. Like, obviously we know she was shot with tranquilizer, right? Like, that's a horrible death right in there. I mean,
it's not just tranquilizer, Tish. It's rhino, elephant, bear tranquilizer.
She was 110 pounds, probably soaking wet. Like, not even close to what a rhino, and it knocks down a rhino. Can you imagine what it did to her?
Joe Scott Morgan, can think about it. This woman, I think, was around 120 pounds, shot full of rhino trank. And even more poignant, she was still wearing her leukemia, her cancer port.
Yeah, and that's recovered at the scene, Nancy. This is fascinating. You know, as fascinating as the contents of that bone are, we have yet to hear anything about this port other than it was found. This is a plastic port that's indwelling beneath the skin. And look, when we go to the doctor, we get 3 types of shots. You either get a sub-Q fat shot, think diabetic shot, an IM, which goes directly into the muscle, or an IV, which goes into the venous system. If this thing is plugged into the venous system, when we begin to think about this, this is a quick acting delivery. Who would know? What intimates in her circle would know that she has this port available? And you know, people keep talking about this dart that's flying through the air, presumably, and lands in the body. Okay, that's an IM shot that goes into the muscle. But what would happen? Just think about this. If you had, through a struggle, you had access to that port and you could jam one of these darts into it, or a syringe, that is a direct delivery. That even works quicker than, say, for instance, being shot with a tranquilizer dart. Here's where the tale is going to be told. The medical examiner would have seen that thing, but guess who still has it? The state crime lab has it. They will take that thing apart, and what they're going to do is they're going to look within that port. It's a plastic port, so it's kind of protected, and see what residual chemicals might be in that thing. That might be a big piece of evidence here, Nancy.
Suzanne Morphew and her husband, Barry Morphew, moved to Colorado from their hometown of Alexandria, Indiana, 2 years before she vanished. But now, Morphew has left Colorado to move back to Indiana, where, according to reports, Morphew is living with Shoshana Dark, who also lived near Suzanne and was allegedly spotted leaving a hotel with Barry Morphew on Valentine's Day, 2021.
What? A girlfriend leaving a hotel in 2021 on Valentine's Day? There's nothing good about that. Let me go to Lauren Conlon joining us, investigative journalist and host of the Outlier podcast and of Corruption, What Happened to Grant Solomon. Lauren, thanks for being with us. Can I just ask you very quickly, why is it being reported that Barry Morphew sneaked into the memorial? Why is that being said?
Well, in my opinion, and all of the threads here are saying that he wants to keep a low profile. He did not speak at that celebration of life for a reason. He showed up with his daughters. It was his family, and it was one of Suzanne's friends and a pastor that spoke. So yeah, in my opinion, he just wanted to sneak in, sneak out, and call it a day and not be a spectacle.
Now, what is this I'm hearing about Shoshana Dark? Who is that? Is that a girlfriend? I knew that there was a ruckus about her going to the Morphew home and taking a package. It was caught on somebody's surveillance video, and she landed in a whole bunch of trouble for that. But apparently she was house sitting. Well, I don't care about the package. I'm curious about the title of girlfriend. Who is this person?
Yeah, so as far as I know, she is a housekeeper, and Barry and Shoshana denied being together and having a relationship. But again, it was reported that they were seen leaving a hotel on Valentine's Day in 2021. And that obviously is very suspicious. When Barry is under so much scrutiny, I'm just not sure why they wouldn't come out and just be honest here.
Morphew was seen with the alleged girlfriend, Shoshana Dark, during a trip to a storage unit in Salida, Colorado. So was that incapacity as a girlfriend or a housekeeper? Don't know. But I don't know what your housekeeper's doing with you at a hotel on Valentine's Day. You know, again, Mark Tate, I guess that's what you would call circumstantial evidence.
Well, that would be circumstantial evidence. And again, these are all things. And you talked a little bit about the Murdaugh trial, and obviously this has some things that are similar, but one glaring difference, and that is, I would say that in this instance, the fella, who allegedly killed his wife, at least in the last case that's been dismissed, and he's not a suspect now. At least he's being quiet. He doesn't owe anyone an explanation about why he went to his wife's funeral. This idea that he sneaked in is something that we have engrafted upon the circumstances in the story that we're seeing. He doesn't owe an explanation for that. He's not speaking to the police. The whole issue about was that bicycle dumped? The only way you're ever going to know that is if the officers who are investigating this case get Morphew to essentially say that he did it. And he's not talking to them. And when you don't talk to the police, and I know you don't like me saying this, Nancy, but I know you agree, because prosecuting these cases where the defendant doesn't talk are multiple harder than it is, say, prosecuting Murdoch, who wouldn't shut up talking. So it's a good, valuable example to people who want to watch how to defend cases. And it's interesting to watch how he acts while he is not a suspect. I think I think the housekeeper at a hotel room on Valentine's Day is damning circumstantial evidence, but it's not a murder. And so there would have to be some bridge built, I believe, between having your housekeeper at a hotel on Valentine's Day, and perhaps that provides some incentive to do someone harm or to have harm done to them, depending upon, who's sneaking with who.
I like that, depending on who is sneaking with who. And you're right. Mark Tate, I don't know that he snuck into the memorial. I know that he didn't speak, and that the majority of the people there were his friends and family. Or so I've been told. Believe me, I was not invited. That said, does that make him a killer? No, it does not. But he's got a lot of explaining to do.
Right.
About all of that rhino trank found in her body that he suddenly went on a cleaning tear and threw out at 5 public dumps, trash cans, and was caught on camera. There's a lot of explaining. And let me reiterate, that's why I've got Mark Tate on with me today, to take a different side. Barry Morphew has not been charged in the murder of Suzanne Morphew again. He was charged and it was dropped. We wait as justice unfolds. Let's stop and remember American hero, Deputy U.S. Marshal Thomas Weeks, Charlotte, North Carolina. U.S. Marshal Weeks gunned down with 3 others trying to serve an arrest warrant. He leaves behind a grieving wife, Kelly, and 4 beautiful children. Patrick, Nancy Grace signing off. Good night, friend.
That's sad. She's been doing that after like every show. So I was actually listening to this earlier, and I figured I would share it with you guys. I believe this came out today. Yeah, it did. So it came out today. It's from Nancy Grace and her best buddy, Cheryl McCollum. And they just talk about different subjects on Fridays. They will either, I don't think it's on Cheryl McCollum's channel, but it says Zone 7 on here, so maybe it is. Let me see. I think this is on a different channel though normally, but it's usually like a Friday night lineup, they call it. But she's going to talk about Suzanne Morphew's case in here. And then she also talks about Seth Rogers' polygraph. And when I was listening to it earlier, I think she might have been trying to explain what happened with that whole polygraph situation. So I figured we just listen through this, and then we'll see where we're at. And I'll look up and see if there's any more updates. And this is just I put it just 7 minutes in, because in the beginning, they're just talking about stuff that's not really it's not a case. I got to play it for you guys. Hold on. I didn't even start playing it for you guys. Okay. Let me go back to where we were. Let me share the right screen with you guys. Oh, just kidding. Just kidding. I accidentally, I clicked it twice. Okay. Let me take it back to right there.
I'd like to talk about crime or my great grandmother. Which one? You pick.
That's a hard call.
Hard choice. Hard
It
choice.
is a hard choice. I think we probably could learn more listening to your grandma. But I am going to move on because I do want people to know something that's happened this week that I think is extraordinary. And people do not understand the just 360 way you work crime. And they say, well, we know her from TV and we know she's got a show. That ain't you. You are a boots on the ground, expert finding, evidence testing crime fighter. And this week, you were no different than you've been since the day I met you. What can we do to move this thing forward? Who can we get? What can we make somebody go through? And what you did this week with the Sebastian Rogers case is you got the biological father to take a polygraph. And what that does for the people that are going to be the naysayers, you can't even use that in court. Let me tell y'all something. A polygraph is an extraordinary tool for law enforcement. And the only people that I know that refuse to take one, normally you should look at even harder for that crime. So tell us a little bit about how that came about and what the results were.
I'll tell you everything. Okay. It took all my strength not to respond to online haters and people that were genuinely asking out of concern for Sebastian, why won't Seth take the polygraph? That's Seth Rogers, Sebastian's biological father. Why won't he take it? Why is he a slacker? What's he hiding? All that time, I knew he had already gone to take one polygraph. Cheryl, the man is on his last leg. I've spoken with his help person. I don't know what else to call him, Tony, who was trying to help his buddy through all this. He says Seth can hardly sleep. Both of them have terrible dreams about Sebastian. It's just a never-ending ordeal for Seth Rogers. He hasn't found Sebastian. He wonders, is he dead or is he alive? Where is he? Is somebody hurting him? Is somebody molesting him? Just where is my boy? I can't even imagine. It just makes my stomach hurt to think about my son or my daughter being gone. Anyway, so Seth went and took the poly with the guy. He was incredible, the polygrapher, who was the head of the FBI polygraphy unit. That's who we found to do it.
Outstanding.
He was incredible. That said, when Seth went the first time, he had been up the whole night. He goes out and looks at night too. Couldn't sleep. And all of this stress has exacerbated, some nerve in his back. So he took prescribed, gabapentin and something else. Anyway, when he got to the polygrapher, he could hardly, sit up straight. He was so out of it and so tired. And the polygrapher said, look, man, we're going to have to redo this again. Did that dissuade him? No. He left. He came back a week or so later, and then he took the polygraph when he was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and passed it with flying colors. But I had to wait. And I didn't want to put it out there. Well, he couldn't take it the first time because I thought people would attack him for that. But that is what has happened. And that is what a former FBI polygrapher told me. He told me in depth everything that happened, the entire conversation about how he passed all the critical questions and more. So Seth Rogers has passed a polygraph. And as many people whine online, you can't introduce it into evidence. Actually, you can introduce it into evidence in a criminal trial in many jurisdictions if and only if both parties agree or stipulate up front prior to the polygraph being taken that it will come into evidence. That is true in many, not all, jurisdictions. It rarely happens because you don't know what's going to happen and you don't want to bring in a result that would hurt your case. Because it's true, polygraphs are not 100% accurate. In civil cases, they can be brought in much more easily. So they're right and they're wrong. But like you, I think it's a very good sussing out tool, ferreting the truth. Somebody says, hell no, I'm not going to take a polygraph. I'm like, oh, let me just bring the tracker dogs with the warrant around your house. Because if somebody is like open, like Mark Class was when his daughter Polly went missing, He's like, poly me, take my fingerprints, take my DNA, search my house, search my home, search my car, do whatever you want. Just find whoever took Polly. He would do anything. And right then, he didn't want to wait. That tells me a lot.
A single moment can change
$2 million. This will trust and online university for
Pura hybrid mattress / dealing with Mark Class and move on. That's important.
And again, I don't know any more about him than I've learned through this case, but I asked him several pointed questions about his ex, Katie Proudfoot, and her new husband, and he would not comment. He said, I want to work with them to try to find Sebastian. I don't want any bad blood. I want to work with them.
And that's what I like about that Tony Mathis guy. Because before he came in, Seth was talking up a storm. He was just talking, you know? Bless his heart. But he really was. He was talking to everybody. He was saying stuff that was out of pocket, that didn't need to come out. I'm not saying he's the only one either. They all, you know. But since Tony kind of came in, at first I was like, you know, who's this guy? He's, you know, he's not like a spokesperson, whatever, but he's doing his thing and he's really helping Seth out. When we saw, I don't know if we watched the interview on the channel or not, but when I saw Seth's last interview with Pascal, he looked more rested. His eyes were like open a little bit. Like usually they're not because they're like swollen shut and they're red. And he just looked like he may have gotten a couple hours of sleep, just a couple, but he needs it. So I think that this Tony Mathis is doing a fantastic job on keeping him just, you know, focused on Sebastian.
So he will not say a bad word about them. And I thought, you know, normally in this kind of situation, ex-couples go crazy on each other.
Sure. You know, and you're talking about since February 26th. That is a lifetime. I mean, you talked about when you lost John David for just a few minutes at a store. Most parents have had that situation where you turn and you don't see him for a split second. Just what happens in seconds.
Oh my stars. Stop everything. Are you selling a t-shirt? Zone 7?
Absolutely.
I like that t-shirt. Wait a minute. That looks good. Zone 7, that black t-shirt. Oh my goodness. Man, you know how to work it, girl. Okay. Go ahead. I think I saw you at the Met Gala wearing a Zone 7 t-shirt.
That would be brilliant. Drape me in nothing but Zone 7 wrapped around. I'm going. That sounds great. You know, again, for anybody listening that has, you know, just wasn't able to see your child for just a few seconds, you know how you feel. So to your
She's
point,
trying to steal my idea.
I mean,
t-shirt idea. She's trying to steal my idea now. Look at her. Telling me she don't watch my show. JK.
I'm sure Seth is not even sane at times. He hasn't been able to sleep. He hasn't been able to work. He hasn't been able to be in his own home. There's no rest because he doesn't know where his child is. So I'm sure, because, you know, you and I dealt with Beth Holloway, and Beth told us sometimes you wake up at 4 a.m. and everybody else is asleep and you're just so freaked and your skin is just not even, I can't remember exactly how she described it to us, Nancy, but remember how she said her skin just didn't even feel right on her body.
Her whole physically, mentally, and her psyche, her soul.
So, you know, we have the Amber Alert, we have searchers, we have law enforcement going to different places. Still nothing, no even small piece of evidence that shows where this child went to and where he is at.
Not a clue. And I find that very, very probative. In other words, it proves something, that the tracker dogs were not picking up his scent.
You know, he's gone without medication. The mama says he doesn't have shoes with him. He would have no way to get food and shelter. Nobody at school has seen him. Nobody has, you know, helped him out in any way. You're talking about a child that has never taken care of himself, even for an afternoon while his parents weren't there. He's
That's a lie. Because didn't he stay overnight at Seth's by himself because Seth worked? So he did it. He could do that.
never, ever taking care of himself. I
Hey,
find it hard to
Phantom, by the way.
believe
Hey.
that he would be able to leave that house in the dark of night on his own and leave no trail, leave no evidence. He's not caught on a ring camera. He hasn't showed up asking somebody for food. He hasn't showed up saying, I'm cold. It's really disconcerting, but I mean, I believe something bad happened to that child.
Seth is still holding out hope that he's alive, as am I. But I just feel that we would have some clue, like a neighbor, if somebody was holding him, like there's some guy online claiming he's got Sebastian, and Sebastian doesn't want to go home and he wants money. That's the telltale sign right there. I don't believe that for a moment.
Surprised that
Long story
hasn't come out
short,
yet.
whatever has happened to him, it's nothing good. Either
Mhm.
Yeah,
someone's
me too,
holding
Terry Dean.
him
Yeah.
and keeping him from his home, or he's dead. Those are the only two choices.
Well, there is no doubt when you say that somebody is now asking for money, that's a sign not to fool with that person. Because like when we were little, we would ask our grandmother, hey, can we help you in the garden for a quarter? And she would jokingly say, why can't you be good for nothing like your daddy?
Oh, that's so good. I'm totally feeling that. Yeah, I am. I think I said that first.
I think you did too. I remember it now.
Okay, what are we going to talk about? Are we going to talk about the preacher's wife?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm going to kind of go through this one just because
children.
we
At
don't
least
follow
for
that
speaking
case.
to her, his
But I do want
windows
to.
are
But I do want to hear the part about Suzanne, and then if you want, I can drop this link in the chat for you guys too, if you want to listen to the rest of it.
Phone calls talked about her mental illness.
Now, of course, a good defense attorney will tend. Was there any?
Sorry, I
I want to know it all. I want to find out where the gun was.
Be able to do business and Ruby Studio. Listen on the iHeartRadio.
Reasoncertificate.ed. Sanctuary
After
comes.
this
Who's on
commercial.
the phone with him, egging him on, basically saying, for Pete's sake, just go ahead and do it. Quit talking about it.
So again, they've got to look at every single thing. And I think you're going to
We'll see.
find out possibly from the children's mother, some behavior. I think there's things that he has not hidden, just like the girlfriend.
I'm just wondering, because as I've told many a jury can consider actions before, during, and
I think this is just
I
still
want
about
to know
that
all
case.
of
Sorry.
that too. Speaking of fast jumps,
Mm-hmm.
5, one behind a McDonald's, one behind a Walmart,
here it is.
30 pages.
Sorry.
A person of interest or suspect encourage her to commit suicide. Was anyone there when she committed suicide? I want to know all of that too. Speaking of actions after a crime, can we just talk about Barry Morphew for one moment, who is not a person of interest or suspect in the murder of his wife, Suzanne? Yes, he was arrested before. Those charges were dropped at the request of the state. Since that time, her body has been found. But I got to reread that affidavit. It's 130 pages long, but I'm pretty sure, Cheryl McCollum, that after Suzanne goes missing, he then throws away at 5 trash dumps.
Mm-hmm.
5, one behind a McDonald's, one behind a Walmart, one at a bus station. 5 dump sites. He thinks he threw away all of his animal tranquilizers that day. Wow, isn't timing everything?
Timing is everything. Isn't that what you're going to do on Mother's Day? Is gather up a whole bunch of trash and drive to 5 different places? Because we all know men are A to B people. I don't know anybody that on their own is going to say, hey, I'm going to go to 5 dumpsters instead of just 1.
Exactly. Why do people turn into neatniks when somebody goes missing?
Isn't that crazy? And he's also an animal expert all of a sudden because he knew a mountain lion got her and not a person.
Remember all the animals listed? I forgot to make that list. The coyote, mountain lion. There were so many. The deer antlers were coming into play. An elk. He was following an elk. There are so many animals that come into play in this case. He just loves to talk about the animals.
Another thing is I brought on an expert yesterday.
I'll have to make a list
on the
for you guys all.
MSM Marriage Street Media program. His name is Dr. Grace Stafford, brilliant zoologist. That BAM, B-A-M, it's an abbreviation for 3 really long medications. It's what they use to bring down rhinoceros, elephants, and that's what was, and he had BAM. She was shot up with BAM, He threw away the BAM, and there was a dart gun cap in the dryer. Okay, but still not a suspect, not named a person of interest. Okay, that's where I'm leaving that. Not named a suspect, not named a person of interest. There you go.
There you go. Well, we're going to pray for your little fella, and we are going to continue to celebrate Sheila, and we are going to continue to stay on all three of these cases.
You know, Cheryl McCollum, I think I'm being pulled off the stage. Hey, I know when I'm not wanted. Bye, beautiful.
Bye, honey.
And
God
hey,
and
I
voodoo
expect I
dolls.
should at least get a discount on that T-shirt, and I plan to wear it at the Met Gala next year.
Oh, I
Met Gala next year, she said. That's funny. That's funny, Nancy. So that's all I really have for you for Suzanne. We're just really waiting for some. We're just really waiting for some, arrest and indictment to happen in this case. I mean, they gotta do something. I hope. I know that they have a little bit of evidence. I'm wondering how much they were able to extract from her femur. Like how much of the medications, the drugs, if they were like a lethal dose. There was a bullet found with her, but it doesn't say if it was like a spent bullet or if it was a bullet in the casing or just, we don't know. So hopefully we'll find that out. But in due time, I'm sure they'll tell us. So Barry's initials are Bam. I don't know his middle name, but yeah, Barry Morphew. Oh man, no, that's weird, Terry. That's weird. You think he did that on purpose? Hall & Oates is her favorite band. I didn't know that. Me too. I'm going to keep my story with like the Sebastian Rogers case. I'm just going to keep thinking what I've been thinking since the beginning. And I think it might have been kids at school, some sort of bully situation. I don't think the parents did anything. I don't know. Yeah, in some states it is a one-party state. Yeah, baby girl, I'm just saying though, like, it's just kind of dirty. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, what he said was unhinged. It was very unhinged. But I wouldn't want to be in his position. I would have came unglued. Y'all wouldn't even recognize me. I'm sorry. Hate to tell y'all, but you wouldn't recognize me if I had a missing child and the internet was coming after me and it would be Vincent like that. Oh, guys. Oh, guys, I wouldn't be able, no, no, sorry. Not today, not tomorrow, not the next day. I would come unglued. I know my personality and I can be really, really cool. Like cool, calm, collected person. But that's my kryptonite, Vincent. You know what I mean? And I think that's what it is for Chris. Like when people go after Katie, I think it puts him in this like aggressive, situation. Man, he wants to take up for her. But that's just me. I don't know. Yeah, but she wasn't supposed to put the calls out online. They weren't supposed to put those out. And so I don't know. I just don't think that they should have put out their own personal phone calls. They don't need to be doing that. What did that do to help get Sebastian home? Like, I don't know. I just want to see everybody if they find this little boy and they prove that his dad and his stepdad and his mom didn't have anything to do with this, I'm going to come and find everybody. I'm going to make my rounds and ask everybody. No one will answer me. Everyone will delete their videos and they'll move on. That's what people do. But that's just what they do. Not me. All 1,005 videos are on there for y'all's viewing pleasure. For your viewing pleasure. But I wanted to drop this link in the chat for you guys. So if you wanted to listen to that whole episode of Zone 7, you guys can, because it had the Micah Miller case in there too. And we've been following that case because as soon as I heard about it, it was like the next day, that's when they ruled it as suicide. So I don't know. Well, Chris was at work, Cheryl, at 5:15 in the morning. So we know that he was not there. That's just me. I mean, that's what I've seen reported, but he probably shouldn't be threatening M to people, but I'd be saying all kinds of stuff. I'd be saying those words probably. I'm not going to lie to you, Janet. I'm not going to lie. Like, think about it, Janet. If you were in this position, just put yourself out there. Your child is missing, right? And you have the whole internet coming after you. You have creators grabbing at your ankles. You've got subscribers calling you every name under the sun. It's hard to just look away, just turn away and turn it off. I would be calling everybody names. I would. I mean, because you have people, they're coming after him. Chris, you did something, you did something, you did something, you did something. Well, I mean, you poke the bear as many times as you poke the bear. I mean, you're going to get something, like you're going to get something back, and you can only be poked so many times before someone says something. Think of your favorite YouTube creator. How many times do they go live and say, well, I just got to talk to you guys about this, or I just got to talk to you guys about that? Think about it. My thoughts for Sebastian have stayed the same. He left unintentionally, but didn't think he'd be gone long. He would be very vulnerable out there late by himself. Terry, that's a good possibility. I think they need to go back and research. Oh, speaking of Letitia, so I got a copy, not a copyright. It's like a warning thing. I just want to tell you guys about it because I've never. I'm like, what? So, and you're gonna laugh when you see what it is. I don't know if I'm gonna put up on the screen because I don't want to get, in trouble again. But it was a warning. It was a warning. They gave me a warning. I should show you my messages to him because I was really upset. I thought it was from the video last night. We did the video. We did the case with Aries, the little girl that was missing and found, and then we did Adam Montgomery's sentencing. But Adam Montgomery's sentencing, we only did I think a short video, and then we were just talking through it. And so when I got that community strike thing, I was like, did I because I played the video? That's what I was thinking. I was like, I'll just trim it out. Like, what's going on? Then I get on here and it says it was for bullying and harassment. Me, bullying and harassment. And I'm like, what? So I reach out to YouTube because I'm like, what? Because all my videos are green. They're all good to go. There's nothing on them. And he said it was for bullying and harassment because of a post that I shared. It was a post from Court TV, Adam Montgomery's sentence. It was just if you go on Court TV right now on their community post, it'll just be a picture of Adam Montgomery. It'll say sentenced to 45 years. Now, I don't know if I wanted to put this, and I don't know if I did. I might have put that I wanted him to rot with Letitia. I don't remember if I put that part. Now, so if I put that part, I could see maybe, I could see the strike, but I don't remember putting that. I remember thinking it, but don't remember putting it. So yeah, I'm like, Pan Am, yeah. Means someone for Puerto Rico. That's what. Well, it was a post. It was a community guy or a community. Yeah, it was like a community post, and it was for Court TV because I contacted YouTube today because I was so upset about it, and he was trying to just brush it off like, oh, it's nothing. It's just a warning, and I'm like, no, sir. I said, do I need to spell it out next time? Adam Montgomery sentenced to 45 years. I was like, because I'm updating my people on true crime cases. Out of all the true crime channels that are going to be hit with something like bullying and harassment, me, you have people all night on panel bullying, harassing victims, families of victims. I'm just like, you, man. So it wasn't a video that was reported though. It was a community post. So someone they must have just picked one and said, we're going to report this one. I don't know. It was so weird. Hey, Ann. Welcome in. Yeah. So I was just like, I'm going to tell everyone that tonight because it's just so weird. So I did this little 7 questions today. If this happens, is this a community guidelines? And then it just says it'll go off. But I'm just like, what? Because you get a warning. And then if you get a warning and then if you get another one, your channel goes down for a week, for 7 days. So you don't do any lives. You can't post any videos. So let me put my backup channel in the link. Let me put the link to my backup channel in here because you never know. I just reposted from Court TV. Literally, if I did put about the, Rotten with Letitia, I could see that, but he wouldn't show me the post. They removed it, but he wouldn't show it to me. I was like, can you tell me what I posted? And then because he was making it like it was a different post. And then he was like, oh, it was a post from Court TV. And I'm like, what? I'm like, that's so weird. And he's like, we took it down. I'm like, well, okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, guy. But yeah, I kept the correspondence just so I'd have it. So the video and everything's still up from last night. That was fine. It was the community post. That's so weird. But I am going to jump off here. Thank you guys all for being here. Thanks, baby girl. I do, baby girl. I don't know who it is, but it's someone. Probably. We all got him out there. I think we do anyway. So yeah, Debbie, I'm going to dispute it. So I took this little class and then it said like, it's going to give, I think tomorrow it'll probably refresh and give me a chance to dispute it because it wouldn't let me do it the first time. Because normally if it's a video, it'll just let you mute the track or whatever it is that's copywritten. Unless it's like a bad strike, like the whole video. But I mean, you know, we never get struck over here. We play videos all the way through, especially Nancy. Nancy will always be hooking us up. Like if it ever like goes, it'll go like minimum like ads or something will be running, but she'll release it within like a day. So she likes us over here. Hey, Miriam. But yeah, good night, everybody. I hope you guys all have a good weekend. Oh, Mary Beth, I love you. And you're not. I'm hoping I can come on this weekend and do like a members live or do a live over on the other channel or both. We had guys in here the last 2 days changing out blinds and doing all the things. So today I didn't have to be here because I was at the gym for that. So that was really cool. But they're gone now, so I can finally get back to doing some more lives. But I'll be back on tomorrow. If not tomorrow, if not tomorrow during the day, tomorrow night sometime. And we will do another live. I'm not sure what we're going to cover. Maybe Sebastian Rogers. We'll see if there's any updates. Maybe we'll go over the phone call that Chris Proudfoot did. I'm not sure. I'll just take notes. That's what I usually do for you guys. That way you don't have to watch it all again. But thank you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate you. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Bye, guys.